Little Johnny's neighbor, Mrs. Harper, had just given birth, and word had spread quickly through the neighborhood. It was big news, but there was one sensitive detail. The baby was born without ears. That afternoon, Johnny's mom decided they'd pay the Harpers a visit to congratulate them and see the new baby. But before they left, she sat Johnny down for a serious talk. "Johnny," she said, her tone stern, "Mrs. Harper's baby is beautiful, but he was born without ears. Now, I don't want you to say about it, understand? If you do, you'll be in big trouble." Johnny, known for his sharp tongue and sense of humor, smirked a little but promised to behave. They arrived at the Harpers' house, and Mrs. Harper greeted them warmly. She was glowing with pride, holding her baby boy who was bundled up in a soft blue blanket. Come on in," Mrs. Harper said, ushering them to the living room. "Meet little Charlie." Johnny and his mom stepped closer to the crib, where the baby was sleeping peacefully. Johnny peered in with exaggerated curiosity. "Wow," he said, his voice dripping with innocence. "What a beautiful baby. Look at those tiny hands. So perfect." Mrs. Harper beamed. "Thank you, Johnny." "And his feet," Johnny continued. "They're amazing. Strong little toes. He's going to be a great soccer player someday, I bet." Mrs. Harper laughed, clearly delighted. Johnny wasn't done yet. "And his skin, so soft and smooth like a peach. What a lucky little guy." His mom shot him a warning glance, but Johnny ignored it. He was just warming up. Then, Johnny leaned in a little closer to the crib, squinting thoughtfully. "How's his eyesight?" he asked, tilting his head like he was genuinely concerned. Mrs. Harper looked a little confused, but replied, "Oh, his eyesight is perfect. The doctor said there's nothing wrong at all." Johnny nodded, looking relieved. "Well, that's great to hear," he said. Then, without missing a beat, he added, "Because he'd be if he needed glasses." The room fell silent. Johnny's mom turned crimson, staring at him in horror, while Mrs. Harper's mouth dropped open. Then, after a moment, she burst out laughing. Johnny's mom couldn't believe it, but Mrs. Harper was wiping tears of laughter from her eyes. "Oh, Johnny," she said between giggles, "you're one of a kind."
Shush.
Needless to say, Johnny got an earful from his mom on the way home, but not before earning himself a new reputation as the neighborhood comedian.